We will travel across America to find the best cars for you. This is what I'm talking about. Please enjoy this next presentation by US Classic Muscle Cars.
US Classic Muscle Cars Top 10 Picks.
What else is the car known for?
Yeah, so the car is known for actually breaking a track record. It actually went around the Nürburgring track in 6 minutes and 44 seconds, which is actually faster than the previous record held in 2015 by the Aventador SV. It actually beat it by 15 seconds.
A big thank you from Perillo.
Okay, so this car is actually equipped with the carbon ceramic brakes. It's going to have little tiny holes in them to brake a little bit faster. They are carbon ceramic, so they're going to be very extremely durable and expensive. You could really just stop on a dime. They're meant for racing. You know, it's overall great quality. That's all I really got.
Can you tell me about the interior of the car?
Yeah, sure, Kate. So the interior, the center console is meant to represent a jet fighter cockpit. It's supposed to make it feel like, you know, you're in a rocket ship, which you kind of are, because, you know, this car's freaky fast. You know, the dashboard is all Alcantara. The reason they do that is because when the sun comes in and it's leather, it'll actually maybe blind you. It's a chance. So what we do is we actually replace it with Alcantara. Obviously, that's an option. You could get leather if you wish to. Alcantara does look beautiful. You know, Alcantara is a synthetic leather. It's absolutely stunning, super soft. Just overall great.
difference was built on a 2016 Hellcat unibody. So what that means is basically the hole underneath this car is a 16 Hellcat unibody. So you go through and you say, how do you come to the idea of this? How do you go through the build process of this? Well, what we had originally started was 3 cars. We had a 69 Charger steel body, a 16 Theft Recovery Challenger Hellcat, and then a 16 Charger that was a rollover. It was in a police shootout, had about 30 bullet holes in it. That was our driveline for our motor. That motor from the police shootout car, that's what we have here. Our unibody, being a theft recovery, had no structural damage to it, but it was just a floor pan. That was a floor pan. So what it is we get together at the shop, I have an idea, we put everyone together, we start laying down. You get the fab team first, and you say, all right guys, let's modernize this 69 Charger, let's go through and do it. So we start going through, we do our measurements and all this stuff. Wheelbase to wheelbase between a 69 and a 16, they're only off a ½ inch. Between a 2016 and 1969, a 69 is about 3.5 inches taller. So overall, size-wise, they really weren't that bad. We did have to add about 10 inches in the back for the rear unibody, but other than that, the stuff was pretty much there. So going through the build and stuff, we had 4,200 hours in fab, and what I mean by fab is from the metal work, all the work in that front splitter, all that rear spoiler, that was 4,200 hours to take 2 cars and fuse them together. Then from the 4,200 hours, from the time it hit paint, body, wiring, everything else, we came into 8,900 hours total. So in those 8,900 hours total, we also had wiring. The wiring, because this car was going through such a transformation, we took a whole 16 Hellcat and built a runner platform right off to the side of the car. We built that runner platform off. It allows us to go through and build a custom harness. Because when you're doing a custom harness like this, there's no R&D out there. You have to basically make sure that your harness comes together and matches everything. So by doing that, we take a harness, lay it out, and you have to go through and you have to make sure we have no codes on our dash. We have to own the airbags out. We have to get the headlights to function. In 1969, their electric door motors, or I'm sorry, their vacuum door motors, 1969. We have electric door motors on here now. Well, our current computer system says, flip the headlight doors up. That doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? So you have to program in and do all this stuff. So all of that was part of the wiring issues that go into this car. This car is a team collaboration from all of our guys at the shop going through and putting everything together and making, honestly, one heck of a car.
My name's Joe Plunkett. I'm with Custom Cars Unlimited. I am not the owner of this 70 Challenger, but the owner has given me the okay to do this video. It is a 1970 Challenger, an original 426 Hemi automatic, one of 4 cars built. It is numbers matching, engine, trans, and rear end, completely restored. The car was actually finished last night.
Really?
Yeah, there about over 1.5 years of restoration was gone into this car. It's one of 4 cars built with a Hemi automatic convertible. There's actually only 3 known to exist at this point.
That is so sweet.
The car is the only lime green convertible that was built with an automatic. Everything is restored to as period correct original as possible. It has manual drum brakes, the original 8 3/4 rear end. Everything is numbers matching, date coded. The original interior, the black vinyl with the original boot. Yeah, it's a...
How long did it take to restore?
It's about 1.5 years it took to redo. The car was actually, just finished last night. It has about 1 mile on it.
Oh, wow. Can we see how it looks with the trunk down?
Yeah, we can close the trunk with the luggage rack on it.
So sweet.
Very rare option.
So is this one of your finest projects, or every project?
No, this is pretty much our standard type of vehicle that we do. This customer, he wants all his vehicles to be as they were before anyone has driven them.
Oh, really?
So it's again as close to original as possible.
So your shop specializes in?
Our shop specializes in restorations and high-end custom cars and exotic cars.
Okay.
At any time we have anywhere between 25 and 30 full-blown restoration or custom projects going.
Right. Oh, there you go. There you go.
We're located in LaGrange, Illinois. It's Custom Cars Unlimited. There's about 15 employees. We've been in business for 47 years.
Hi, this is Tina with US Classic Muscle Cars. Take a look at this rare 1987 Buick GMX. It only has 16 actual miles on it. It's one of 547 made. It actually has a turbo 3.8 liter engine. And now let's take a look around. Now you can see the rear here. Now we'll go around to the other side.
Well, yes, this is the last Buick Grand National that was made. Pretty much an icon of the 80s. It also represented the last General Motors G car produced. It only has 31 miles. It's in its original trim as it came down the assembly line. When we arrived at the plant, we were at the plant that last day. All of these signs were already made for the car. If you come around here, I'll show you. As it came down the assembly line, the employees at the plant signed the car all up under the bottom, the engine compartment, and we have a lot of the documentation that was on the car as it came down the line. The window sticker is very unique to the car, as well as the front emblem on the front of the car. It was the only one produced that had this front header emblem. They wanted to put something on the car that made it distinctive from the rest of them. The window sticker reveals the date and the time that it was made, that was inscripted on there before the window sticker was ever put on the car. We have an hour-long video of the car, which we're playing. That's General Motors filmed the entire process.
with US Classic Muscle Cars. Right now I'm standing in front of the Dodge Demon Challenger SRT. Why don't we have a look around?
Welcome to US Classic Muscle Cars. Today I'm here with John from Dodge. Now he's going to tell us today about the new 2018 Dodge Demon.
Yeah, absolutely. This car is pretty incredible. This is officially the world's fastest production car. And really that starts underneath the hood, right? Let's talk about this engine. This is a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8 engine. Specifically though, it's the Demon engine, and you can tell it's the Demon. The easiest giveaway on this are the red valve covers. On the rest of the car, the Hellcats for instance, they're orange, but on the Demon, they're that bright Demon red. You'll notice some of the things. The supercharger lies right between the V here. This up on top, this is actually the intercooler. It's a water-cooled intercooler. That's what that reservoir is for over here. And of course on the back side over here, this is for the regular radiator, for the coolant on that one. One thing that you'll visually see different between this and some other cars is that big open element air filter. This looks like stuff that's going to be on an aftermarket car. Normally aftermarket would do that. You go somewhere else and buy it. But we actually supply that right from Dodge. The cool thing there is exactly that. It's coolness. It's all about getting cool, dense air inside that engine so we make the most power. So something we started out on the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat was something called the air catcher. I want to lean down here to the headlights. You'll see that's a headlight here, but next to us, that is an open hole, and you can actually even stick your hand in there. That goes all the way inside to the air box here and feeds cold outside air right to the filter. But there's more to it. Here on the Demon, we have something exclusive called the air grabber, and you'll see the graphic up on top there. I gotta drop the hood down so you can see the whole deal. This giant air scoop right here is sucking in outside air. And then it comes through the air grabber and then comes down into the air filter. So we're actually feeding cold air from both the front and the top into that filter. Now you put it all together and we're making, when you put it onto race gas, 840 horsepower. This is a street legal car. You can drive this car to 7-Eleven, get yourself a Slurpee in it, then go to the drag strip, blow everybody's doors off, and still have a comfortable street car. This is a street car that is street legal to drive the car. Now there's more to the story on Demon. Let's come over here to the side, and I want to show you the wheels and tires on this car. These are specific to the Demon, and what's interesting about these is where so many other cars these days have got big giant 20 and 22-inch tires. We actually shrunk these down a little bit and put 18-inch wheels. The reason we did that though is because these tires are drag radials.
Let's enjoy this next video about the Bugatti Chiron.
So can you tell us a little bit about this car?
Yeah, this is a Bugatti Chiron. Absolutely stunning vehicle. It's made out of carbon fiber and aluminum. It's the fastest car in the world currently at a max speed of 261 miles per hour. This car is incredible. It has a W16 motor, which is basically two V8 engines combined and put right next to each other to make up to 1,500 miles per hour. Horsepower. And it has 4 turbochargers. This car is absolutely spectacular. It's worth $3.4 billion. $million. This car starts off at about $2.9 million, and you can customize it pretty nicely to make, this car up for $3.4 million. And it's really just a work of art. The Bugatti Chiron, man. To get an oil change in this car, you got to take off the entire rear panel. You even got to fly a Bugatti specialist in from France to oversee the whole operation. An average oil change costs anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 for this Bugatti Chiron. This thing's unbelievable. If you take a look at the front of the car, dead center in the middle, you'll see a beautiful intricate curve, and it actually, right dead in the center, has to be a 45-degree angle. Bugatti will not let this angle be 45 degrees and a quarter. It has to be a perfect 45 degrees to make sure the car is perfect. They don't cut any corners when it comes to making this car. You know, it has a carbon ceramic brakes. You know, you can probably get them for $2,500 a piece, $3,000 a piece. You never have to change them. They're racing brakes. You know, you can stop on a dime with the right tires. This car is absolutely stunning. You know, it has a beautiful red interior. Yeah, overall sweet car. 0 to 60 in about 1.9 seconds. This car is incredible. It's not the fastest car in the world, but it does have the highest top speed of 261 miles per hour. And as you can see, the car has a bunch of curves, right? And this piece right here is all one massive piece of aluminum. You know, this car is really incredible. If you look at the back, you can actually see that it says W16 on one part of the engine. That's the engine size. Like I said earlier, it was 2 V8 engines put right next to each other combined, and that makes up for 1,500 horsepower with 4 turbochargers. This car is magnificent.
My name is Bill, and I wanted to build a car as a tribute to our veterans of past wars, present, everything, anybody who's ever served. And chose the Ford Mustang because it was actually named after a World War II aircraft, the North American P-51 Mustang, of course, which that airplane got its name after the Mustang horse, famously. So in order to treat or to do the veterans full homage that they deserve, we decided to go overboard and actually make a 1970 Mustang Mach 1 as much of a P-51 Mustang, North American type, as much as we could. So everything you see is, well, a lot of aircraft components, ignition switches, battery switches, fuel pump switches, of course, that's pretty standard for any car, but this centerpiece is the C6 AFCS control head out of a B-17. Every knob, switch, button, and so forth has a function. Behind it is part of the audio system. Audio system includes 3 systems, exterior, interior, and then I can run a combination as well. And sometimes they accidentally turn on. Devices for controlling the various exhaust systems. There's 3 exhaust systems. 1 that comes out the fenders, 2 underneath. Those are electric, controlled by switches up here on the upper console. Various aircraft lighting switches, etc. And the guns are controlled by a safety switch up here. The 50 caliber guns out of a P-51 Mustang operate on propane and oxygen that you see in Hollywood movies and so forth. And those systems for that are located behind my seat here with all the electronics and the bottles and so forth and so on. Very good. Like I said, the C6 AFCS control system out of a B-17. Some of these are custom fabricated from new vintage out of Detroit, Michigan. They had the old bomber look, and then we custom ordered things to make it look like the aircraft and then function like this. Is an actual aircraft clock, 8-day, what they call an 8-day clock. This is the turn coordinator out of a glider, actually. So yeah, and then of course we had to incorporate some of the Ford Mustang stuff because of the switching behind it.
Right.
But yeah, the circuit breakers for the systems. In here is the gas control valves to shut off, emergency shut-offs for the propane and oxygen if I need to do it. That open and closes, shuts everything down. And then of course we got override switches for safety.
There's one question that I always ask people, is more as a joke, but this time it really applies. Do you let anyone else drive the car?
I have a couple times. Yep. I sure have. What I mainly do is I go to veteran shows. Quincy, we just got back from the Lone Star Flight Museum in Houston, Texas, and I let the guys and gals that have served either Vietnam or World War II, there's obviously some that can still get in the car and so forth, and they get to get in, they get to start it and fire the guns. We have to coordinate
Right.
with outside law enforcement. The guns are so loud.
Okay, now I'm here with Erwin and his beautiful car. And so we want to know about the history of this car.
Sure.
Can you tell us about it?
I will, yes.
Okay.
This is a 1956 SR2 Corvette. This was built by Harley Earl, who was head of styling for General Motors in 1956. And at that time, his son Jerome was racing Ferraris. And the top brass of General Motors came to Harley and said, it doesn't look right that Jerome is racing a Ferrari, he should be racing a Corvette. So Harley went to Jerome and said, Jerome, we should sell the car, the Ferrari, and if we do, I will build you a special Corvette racer. And this is the car he built.
Wow, so it's like the original paint?
It is the original car, absolutely.
What about the wheels?
The wheels are original to the car.
Oh, okay. So, and how much is the horsepower?
The horsepower is a little over 400 horsepower.
Okay.
It's a 331 cubic inch motor, and it has a dual air meter fuel injection unit, which creates more air into the motor, and which gives you more horsepower.
Oh, wow. And how big is the engine?
That's 331 cubic inches.
Oh, okay. And what else? So, have you won any award?
Yes, the car won Best in Class at the Amelia Island Concourse last March, and it won many other awards at other concourse events.
Oh, so do you have other cars? Do you have other cars?
I have a few other cars, yes, Corvettes and some other cars also.
Oh, that's great. So, how long did it take to restore the car?
Right, it took about a year and a half to restore the car. It was all there when I got it, but it was tired because it was vintage raced by the previous owner. And but it was all there, and it was a pretty easy restoration.
Oh, okay, so.
Well, this was driven in from Crown Point, Indiana.
Yes.
And
the fog this morning.
Yep. And yeah, through the fog. Now this is a Type 57S Bugatti.
Correct.
Yep.
SC.
SC. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is
S
the
is for
SC.
base, which means lowered, and C means compressor,
Oh,
supercharged.
okay. Okay. And this is approximately what year?
1936.
1936. Very good. And it's dual overhead cam, straight 8.
Straight 8, yeah.
Is that 4 valves per cylinder?
No, two valves per cylinder.
2 valves per cylinder.
The design was copied off of Miller for the head.
Okay.
And so the cups around the spark plugs will interchange with the Miller.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so.
Harry Miller.
Harry Miller, yeah. He traded several race
Wisconsin.
cars for several Bugattis, and then Bugatti copied his cylinder head.
And everybody copied a little bit of everybody, as
Yes.
we know. So where was this car found?
I originally saw the car in about 1994 in Scottsdale at the Barrett Jackson auction. They had it there, and the car was a lowrider. The rear fender skirts were probably that high off the ground. I thought, how'd you get it out of a gas station? Well, couldn't afford to buy the car at the time. The tent poles were bidding, the chandeliers were bidding up $1 million, no sale. It kicked around for a while. They had a pre-auction in Monterey one year. This car and about 3 others were up there from Barrett Jackson. And just before the auction dropped the valve, the bank said, sell it. Blackhawk bought it, and I bought it the next day from Blackhawk. And then we had Phil Riley go through the engine, what we found wrong in the engine. I sent him the whole car, they did the whole chassis. You know, the guy that built the engine up said, yeah, it always ticked a little bit. Well, yes, that's because the valves were hitting the pistons.
Oh.
And so the guy that put it together had never built a Bugatti engine before. So it had a nice whine to the supercharger and stuff on it. Well, the gear whine was because nothing was set right. So now it's fairly quiet, just a normal gear whine.
Well, how's the car to drive?
It's fun to drive, fantastic. It's like on rails. It goes around the corner dead flat. A little bit like a buckboard on rough roads, but it's just fun to drive.
Yeah.
So.
And do you let your wife drive?
I'm not married, so that's.
I've never been married either.
So that's a moot question. But yeah, other friends drive it. I mean, I've had other friends drive it, so it's not not difficult to drive.
Okay.
Did you ask him how rare the car is by chance?
Oh, it's rare. Hill would have the numbers better than me.
Well, originally they built a prototype, which has been recreated by the Guild in Canada in a light turquoise color. They built 3 original cars. 2 exist. Ralph Lauren has 1. The other car's in California with Mullen and Rob. And the 3rd car was hit by a Bugatti train before the war. It sat in a junkyard for about 10 years while the insurance companies argued over it. The guy and his mistress were killed in it. After the end of the war, all that's left was a broken engine and some other parts. The steel and all chassis and stuff had gone to the war effort. And a guy bought it, recreated the car. Wheelbase, well, from here to here, it wasn't the correct wheelbase when he rebuilt it. It kicked around. It was rebuilt by Lecoq, which is the top restorer in Paris. Still all wrong. Another guy bought it, sent it to Paul Russell, who restored Ralph Lauren's car. And so they took the car apart. They had an empty hole in the floor. From there they started back up, right wheelbase, right everything, and recreated the car. It's got a different back end on it. The rear fenders come straight back. This rivet line comes straight back.
Back with US Classic Muscle Cars, and I'm here with Bob still, and we are looking at another one of his cars. And Bob, do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
This is a 1969 ZL1 Camaro. Now, what's special about the ZL1 is it's got an all aluminum engine block. You don't see that too often. There were only 69 of these made in 1969. The car was set up for drag racing. Obviously this car didn't hit the track too much in its current state, but definitely an unusual car nonetheless. My company, Corvette Connection, we worked on this for the owner. Did a lot of freshening up. It was in pretty good condition when he acquired the car, but as always, they always need something. So we did a nice once over. We did some paint work to it, did some engine work to it, got it running okay, made sure the brakes and everything was up to speed. So, and here it is. So we're gonna hope for the best today.
And what is your favorite feature on this car?
Definitely the motor. It's very rare to see one of these, and when these were around, a lot of these engines, they didn't have the aluminum castings perfected back in the day, so there were a lot of issues with these motors. They would crack, they'd have just general mechanical breakdown. A lot of people would take them out and they'd get thrown away. So to see the car in its original state like this is pretty unique.
And how much horsepower does this beast have?
No one knows for sure. It's rated at 425. It could go a little more, it could go a little less, but that's what they're rated for, so it's definitely got that.
Absolutely. And then was there any method to the paint job and the interior? Because I know it's a really neat color.
Not really. This was a production color, but as you can see, if the hood was down, you wouldn't know what's under the hood on this car. Almost like a sleeper car, so to speak. It kind of looks plain Jane. It's got the dog dish hubcaps. There's really no other identifying features on it that would let you know that it's a ZL1. So basically it's a bare bones car with a lot of power under the hood, and that was the intent.
Now Bob, how were you lucky enough to get this car in your shop?
The current owner of this car acquired it from another gentleman in the Milwaukee area many years ago. So the other cars that we worked on in addition to this one by the same owner brought this into us to do some freshening up on it. It had sat for a long time, and gas needed to get drained, brakes needed to get functional, needed to run better. The restoration on it was done a lot of years ago by another gentleman in the area that's sort of a Camaro guru. So basically what we were doing was just some general freshening up and getting it ready for the auction.
Hi, I'm Marlene from US Classic Muscle Cars, and today we are here at Steve Foley from Rolls-Royce. And right next to me I have Ed Trirish. Hello, how are you doing today?
Fine, how are you, Marlene?
Good, thank you for asking. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what we have right next to us?
I sure can. This is the new 2018 Rolls-Royce Phantom. I guess you could say it's the Rolls-Royce of Rolls-Royces. It's their flagship car. The Phantom has a long history with Rolls-Royce, and they are proud to come out with a completely new redesign, completely new engine work, and actually completely new everything for 2018.
Oh, wow. Can you tell us a little bit about the interior of the car?
Sure. Rolls-Royce has always prided itself on having the best of the best, and the first thing you notice is the coach doors, which are common with Rolls-Royce. We don't like the term suicide doors, so we call it coach doors, and people wonder about the history of them. Well, coach doors, this type of style has been with a few different cars before, but the story is that it kind of came around when Queen Elizabeth, the current monarch became queen, and she was, a little more dowdy. To this day, she still enjoys being at the farm, so she was able to get out of the car, and before the doors opened, she was able kind of to straighten herself up and get out. So that's the story behind that. The interior, real wood, real leather, Northern European hides, which are the toughest, and designed distinctively. In fact, if you were to go to their website, RollsRoyceMotorcars.com, they have various options for the right side of the dash over there. It's the different types of artwork you can commission. This is all new design. This hasn't been seen before in Rolls-Royce. The technology is fully up to date with regards to things like Bluetooth and playing your music through Apple CarPlay and things like that also. The stitching is all hand done. The car is a hand-built car. You may see kind of a platform type of handling at the factory as they move it from point to point.
We're here in Oak Brook today at the Classic Car Club of America show. We've got Graham Thompson. He's going to tell us a little bit about this amazing car behind us.
Thank you. This is a 1962 Corvette. We just had it restored. It's numbers matching, so it's got all the original parts, numbers and codes. It's a silver over red, which is my favorite color combination for this year. And it's got a few neat things. It's automatic transmission, which is kind of rare. It also has both of the tops. So as you can see, this has got the hard top on it right now, which I think looks pretty cool, and it's beautiful as a convertible too.
Certainly is. Can you tell us a little bit more about this interior, this beautiful red?
Well, it's there was a few different color options available for 62. Again, this one was my favorite. I think it's just got a really special look with how it blends with the silver, and yeah, it's just absolutely a blast to drive this car too. It's growing up, my dad had one of these, and he used to let me take it out for a spin once in a while. So it was always, his was a maroon one that I remember driving, but it was always my dream to have one of these for myself. And we've spent the last several years restoring this. This car was restored by Mid-Valley Auto in Moline, a guy named Mike Snelling, who's just meticulous with details. So if you check out the fits and finish on this car, it's pretty exceptional. So I'm really proud of it.
You should be. It is a phenomenal car. Can you tell us a little bit about any awards that you have won or are planning to win?
Well, this is the first time we brought the car out to show it at all. And next week we're going to take it to Bloomington Gold, and it's going to be judged there. And they look through the car to make sure that it's all original and judge it on a number of criteria. And then we're going to also take it to NCRS and get certification. So we have that with the car, and then the plan is just to have fun with it, get it out on the road.
That is a great plan. You should be having fun with this car. Do you mind showing us the engine, perhaps?
Sure, I'll open it up. So the car has probably, I don't know, maybe 20 miles on it since its restoration.
Welcome to US Classic Muscle Cars, and today we are here at this fantastic Volo Auto Museum, and we are also here with Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hey, how are you?
Now, can you tell us a little bit about what we have right here?
Oh, this is the General Lee. Quite arguably the most famous television car ever built. And it's got a huge cult following to it. You know, not only did they have the original TV series, which ran from the late 70s through the mid 80s, they also did reunion movies that were made for television. And in 2005, they ended up doing a full featured film for the big screen. But the car is the true character that everybody loves, more so than the actors. And this example here, well, it's aged better than the actors did as well. The General Lee is one of the most replicated TV cars. I mean, it's fairly simple to do. It's an orange paint job on a Dodge Charger that are somewhat readily available. But this one here, the historians, is really considered the holy grail of General Lee's. During the first season of Dukes of Hazzard, it was filmed in Georgia, and after that it moved to California. And this is the only surviving car from the first series. It's got a lot of history to it that you could almost write a novel on. I mean, you don't want to sit here and listen to me rattle on for an hour about the history of the car, but it's an amazing piece, and we're very honored to have it here in our museum.
Now, this is the original.
Yes, this is one of the original Warner Brothers built General Lees.
Now, I see you have the big poster of Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, with the TV and movie cars in our museum cars, we like to give them some display, so we created the banner here to, not that the car needs any identification, but that's to help identify it. Right. We've also got some posters in the back here of the car back in 1979 when it was first built. There's pictures of it before it was turned into a General Lee, the documentation, and as it was being built into a General Lee. Now, this car there's only been about 1,200 miles put on it since it was turned into a General Lee in '79. It's the original paint from Warner Brothers. It's original to 1979.
Have you done any updates to it?
Nope. This is totally original.
So if you want to come and watch some TV cars or movie cars, Brian, again, how can they contact you guys?
They can go to our website and see what cars we have here, which is volocars.com. They can also find us on social media, but our website has our email address, phone numbers, directions, everything they'll need to come and visit.
All right.
Hi, my name is Pete Sanchez. I'm the owner of Custom Cars Unlimited in LaGrange, Illinois. And we're showcasing this here 1967 Lincoln four-door convertible at the Oak Brook Father's Day show this year. And I just would like to spend a couple minutes to go over the car. This is about a 3-year project. Originally, when the car came to us, it was white, kind of tired. And we actually never started out to do this. It just kind of evolved into the car that we see today. When we had originally taken the car apart and stripped it down to bare metal, there was quite a bit of rust in the four corners. So we took the car completely apart, and then we had it chemically stripped. We were able to purchase the used parts out of a boneyard in Texas and brought them back to Chicago. Had those parts sent out and chemically stripped, and then we took those parts and put them on the car and made a really nice, solid, rust-free body. And then from there, we did the body work. As you can see, it's got a beautiful paint job on it. And we upgraded the brakes with their four-wheel disc brakes. It's got a 9-inch forward rear end with posi. These are billet tires. I'm sorry, billet wheels. I looked through their catalog and I ran across these particular rims, and I thought they were like perfect for the car. And of course I had to go with the white walls and the Vogues. The interior is all brand new leather. We've upgraded all the gauges, the stereo system, the steering wheel. It has vintage air, heating and air conditioning, Alpine stereo system, camera, reverse camera in the rear view mirror. And the trunk and the convertible top mechanism work from a little switch in the fuel door over here. Originally, this car would have had a key cylinder on the quarter panel, which would have been original, but we replaced that and just put the spring on the inside. Now the top opens, and you can see all the mechanisms in here. Everything has been restored. All the wiring, every switch, all the pumps. It has 4 pumps, or 4 cylinders, 1 huge pump. All the hardware is all correct. All the rubber, everything for the car.
What a work of art.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on it, and the mechanism works just absolutely perfect. But it took a lot of time to get it to do what it's doing. Just hours and hours and hours of troubleshooting. Everything has to work in a certain sequence. It's really a nice job, nice cruiser. I wouldn't mind owning this one myself.
How's the car to drive? I was just going to say that.
Hi, my name is Russ. This is my 2020 Corvette. Picked it up in Bowling Green, Kentucky, July 9th. Take you for a little walk around it. So this is a 3LT car. This is the natural dipped interior. We're running the torch red paint on the exterior of the car. Let's open the back end for you. Okay, so the engine cover was painted by Captain America Designs in Hampshire, Illinois. We have American Racing headers on it.
Welcome to US Classic Muscle Cars. My name is Marlene, and this is Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your car today?
Yes, ma'am. What this is a made 1990. It's a Ferrari F40. We purchased it in 1993 as a second owner. First owner had 1,700 miles on it in 3 years, and now we have a little over 53,000. So I would drive this to work. My wife and I have driven this on racetracks and so forth, and just enjoy the heck out of it, as you can imagine.
I can imagine. Now, I hear this car might be a little bit rare.
The Ferrari came out with a limited edition car called the 288 GTO in the mid-1980s. And then every 5 to 10 years afterwards, they would come out with another limited edition car. This was the limited edition car that came out roughly 1990. And then mid-90s to latter 90s, the F50 came along and so forth. Next evolution was the Enzo and now the LaFerrari. So Ferrari this was actually a big production run for their limited edition cars. There were over 1,300 of these made. They also made a few of these that were purpose-built race cars that did well in the highest levels of professional racing. But this is a total street car, street legal, and well, I'll say street legal as long as you keep your foot off the accelerator to any degree.
How much horsepower does it have?
The factory rating was a really goofy number, 478 horsepower, which is pretty good given that the cars are not that heavy. These things are probably around 2,900 pounds, 3,000 pounds in that weight range. Even the lighter modern Ferraris weigh a little bit more, and some weigh considerably more. In any case, to Americanize these things, they had to mess around with the computer programs in Italy so that these would be legal in America for emissions. So they actually came in over 500 horsepower for the American versions.
Okay. Can you show us your engine?
Yes, ma'am. You'll have to pardon our little rubber smear here from being out on the racetrack. A little bit of rubber came up off of a car in front of us, and that'll just wipe off. I was just too lazy to do that today.
How often do you take it to the track?
You want to take a look?
Sure.
Here's yours. Nice. Really nice car. So, it's white. When you look at this, you'll see how far forward the motor is. That's the motor way up there. It's a relatively small V8, okay? Probably less than 180 cubic inches.
Yeah, I'm Dave Goding. I built this 82 Firebird into a sort of a poor man's Ferrari. It's got a big block Chevy, 604 cubic inch on a Toronado transaxle mounted in the back. I built a custom frame and custom suspension, upper and lower A-arms, air suspension all around. The headers are kind of unique. They're 180 degree firing order. So it gives the big block a higher pitch sound. It doesn't rumble so much. It kind of screams when it runs. But
have you taken it to the track or?
No, it's never been to a racetrack. Hasn't been dynoed recently. was dynoed a few years ago with a smaller camshaft, and it was 438 at the rear wheels at that point. The interior is pretty much all redone. It's I built a new dashboard. There's a full PC built into the dashboard with a 10-inch screen. It's the screen doubles as a backup camera when I put it in reverse, and there's quite a bit of wiring. There's a lot of electronics on the car. The hatch is on a remote control, and up front we've got a 22-gallon fuel cell, and there's an air tank and a small compressor for the air suspension. Car is lowered right now since we're parked. I obviously have to raise it up to drive it, but radiator is still up in front. It's got air conditioning. I guess the air suspension controls are in the corner on the firewall.
It's an SHO. That was that Yamaha engine.
The body is actually a styling kit that was built for the Firebird. It kind of fit what I was doing by putting the engine in the back, so I went ahead and bought this styling kit, which includes a complete front clip plus door skins and rear quarters and a new hatch. It was patterned after a Ferrari Testarossa from the mid-'80s, but it's a little bigger. If you see a real Testarossa next to it, this car is about 6 inches taller and a little bit wider, but it's engine's fuel injected, got a Holley Dominator ECU on it, and port injection, a 2000 CFM throttle body that it pulls the air through.
We're here at the Mecum auction with Ken, who has the highlight of the evening for us. This car is phenomenal. It is a 1957 convertible Corvette. It is beautiful. Ken is going to tell us all about this.
Hi.
Hi.
I started building this car 30 years ago. It was a concept. I call it an SR3 because I decided to incorporate many of the design features of the Corvette Motorama cars and their SR2 race cars. But I thought that the car should feature the things that Chevrolet would have liked to have put in the car if they had the technology back then that we have now. So it's built on a custom tube frame with 92 Corvette suspension, a 92 Corvette LT5 ZR1 motor, which is a beautiful motor. It's one of the few motors that they don't have to put a plastic cover on to look good. When I open the hood, I'll point it out to you and you'll see what I mean. It's got the kidney bean Halibran wheels, which were also on the Corvette Motorama cars. Many of the features on this car are features that were done on later Corvettes of the 50s. I incorporated them on this car to make it look like it was a Motorama show car, including the color scheme and everything about it.
Absolutely.
But it's a wonderful car to drive.
I can only imagine. This color scheme is just so sharp. Can you tell us a little bit about the lines and what goes into the color?
Well, the color is a royal blue. It's one of my favorite colors. So I wound up originally getting royal blue in material, vinyl, and I had the paint mix to match. You can't see the convertible top, but the Corvette top, the top is also blue and enhances the blue in the car itself.
Absolutely, it's incredible. And you've got the air vents here. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the air vents are?
Well, those were features that were used on the SR2 race cars. And they were polished aluminum on those cars, and this is polished stainless steel, which holds the shine better.
Incredible. So this is going up for auction shortly. Tomorrow, absolutely. And so if you aren't bidding on this, October 26, 2019, you'll have an opportunity to, which is really fantastic. Do you mind telling us a little bit about this interior?
Well, the interior, it's all custom. Somebody told me once some of the things that were wrong with the car that weren't original. And I told them, well, if you find anything on this car that's original, let me know, I'll change it.
I love that. Well, this is an original car without needing to be so. It's amazing. US Classic Muscle Cars is here at the Mecum auction with this incredible Plymouth Superbird. This is a 440 engine. This has a 390 horsepower, 4-speed, just an incredible, beautiful car. This is one of the highlights of the auction here. Take a look at this engine. It's beautiful. This is all identical coloring. You can see that the engine inside matches the exterior. So this car is in absolute pristine condition. Come on over here, let me show you something. So this bolt here, this bolt adjusts the spoiler so that you can increase or decrease your downforce.
I can see it. I can see it. I'm live. Go ahead.
So this car is in absolutely perfect condition, from the color to the spoiler to the engine, the interior. It really is amazing. How much would you bid for this car?
Great. So have you ever seen the Dukes of Hazzard?
So this kind of pristine classic car is what you'll find at the Mecum auction. And this is the type of pristine videos that you and the viewers will find here at US Classic Muscle Cars. Thank you for watching US Classic Muscle Cars. Like us, share, subscribe to us on Facebook and social media. We'd like to show your car next, so please leave us a comment, subscribe, and like us.